Delighted to welcome another speaker, and it's Ruth Abbott of York City Council. And Ruth, great to have your input here at the NALS conference. First time we've come up north. How important is it for NALS to reach out to agents in this way?
It's very important for, to be honest, any organisation to reach out to letting agents, to landlords. One of the things that we find in York in particular is we have a huge number of very smaller landlords with only sort of 3 or 4 properties. I think it's something like 8% of the landlord population. And to be honest, if they can get as many messages from as many different organisations as possible, NAL being one of them, then that's absolutely fantastic, because the more they can see the fact it gives a reassurance of messages, because basically you have to hear the message more than once, and if you hear it from a number of different places, it does mean they can take on confidence that that is what they should be doing. So it's absolutely great.
And what are the kind of issues that you're going to be speaking about in your presentation today?
In particular, we're going to try and focus a little bit on the health impacts of poor accommodation. People get very much focus on the enforcement side, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing as a carrot and kind of stick approach. But we really want to focus on about how we can improve housing conditions. We have found, like many councils throughout the country, when we've done our kind of surveys, etc., the worst sector, unfortunately, is the private rented sector. It has some of the best as well, but on a whole, statistically, it has some of the poorest standards as well. So what we're trying to aim is about trying to think not always about the enforcement side, but what actually does that mean to people's health, the people actually who are living in the homes. And that's what I'm going to try and do a different kind of slant from that point of view.
Excellent, because I think lettings agents are facing a number of challenges at the moment, keeping up with regulation and the kind of anti-lettings agent sentiment in the media as well. How important do you think, or how much can events like this really help to dispel that kind of negativity?
Oh, well, I think again, it's if you bring people together, it's about looking at those issues and saying, can we actually tackle these together? Not always looking at the kind of the fact that it's a problem, but how can we actually resolve the issue together and actually do something about it? We have to sort of say there are issues, but at the same time, does that mean what can we do for? One of the biggest issues we've got in York is the fact that we've got lots of older buildings. We've got lots of poorly energy and inefficient buildings. So, but we've also got kind of constraints around about listed buildings in the fact that we're in conservation areas. So how can we actually tackle some of those kind of, where there's tensions there pulling away? So it's about sort of trying to say, there's some technologies out there that can resolve that. We need to get people in place like our planners. We need to get you as landlords and letting agents to see the fact that there's a benefit in doing it, because you're going to improve your properties. And at the end of the day, it's going to have a tremendous impact on the tenant who's actually going to live in it. So that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to work through that.
I think you hit on a very valid point there, that the PRS across the UK is actually very fragmented in the respect of the different councils have different issues to deal with and so on. But I think one of the messages that certainly Kate Faulkner wanted to get across was that the agents should engage with the local council and kind of work together, and no doubt you would welcome that.
Absolutely. We're all, it's a case, as I say, the more we can actually get messages out, and from an educational point of view, and again, that's something I'll be pushing today, is the fact that we're trying to promote education, we're trying to promote accreditation. We will still, we still do have our difficult landlords, and I've got to say we still have some of our difficult letting agents as well. But it's a case of, it's like any profession, you have some very good, you have some very bad, and you have lots of people in the middle that usually because they don't know, are doing things incorrectly. So that's what we're trying to do, is try, education and pushing the fact that you can do something about your properties. Don't just always think you can't, and do actually learn from others, learn from your colleagues, learn from another letting agent, learn from another landlord. It doesn't always have to come from the local authority as such.
Well, on behalf of NALS, Ruth, I'd like to say thank you very much for your input here today and taking part in the interview. It's great to have somebody from York right at the kind of coalface of everything that's going on to actually be here today and share your experiences.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you very much,
Not
Ruth.
a problem.